You are at a crowded event, and you spot someone striking. They are sharp, well-dressed, and culturally prized in almost every way, yet they are standing completely alone. Nobody is walking up to them. It is easy to assume they want to be left alone, or that they are simply out of your league. But their isolation rarely stems from a lack of interest. It is driven by a psychological phenomenon called signal amplification bias. This describes our tendency to believe we've clearly shown interest in someone when our outward signals remain subtle or ambiguous. When we fear rejection, we experience an extreme disconnect between our internal state and external reality. Inside our heads, the anxiety is so loud that a quick glance across the room feels like a blinding neon sign. But to the person on the receiving end, that signal is a barely perceptible dot. Because the sender feels they have put themselves out there, they expect a reaction. When the other person misses that ambiguous cue and does nothing, the sender interprets this as a firm rejection and pulls back completely. This cognitive glitch creates a baseline of tragic miscommunication. Two people can sit 20 feet apart in the same room, mutually interested, but trapped in place by the assumption of mutual rejection. Add culturally prized traits to this equation, and the communication breakdown gets worse. Extreme physical attractiveness actually penalizes the sender by amplifying the friction in the room. Researchers observing interactions in real-world environments like bars tracked nonverbal solicitation behaviors, things like open body posture, smiling, and torso orientation. They found that the most conventionally attractive women received far fewer approaches than average unless they sent massive, undeniable signals of their availability. Extreme beauty creates a psychological buffer zone known as high-status territory. People give highly attractive individuals more physical space, treating their presence like a position of authority. That physical distance makes others feel they cannot intrude without explicit permission. To understand why, we have to look at the person considering making the approach. When scanning a room, people generally operate on the matching hypothesis. This is an unconscious strategy where individuals aim for partners of similar overall desirability to themselves. Look at this risk assessment matrix. As target attractiveness increases, the expected pain of rejection skyrockets. When sizing up a highly attractive person, the brain weights the intensity of desire against the anticipated pain of being turned down. To minimize that pain, the approacher downshifts their target to a safer, less intimidating zone. Dating app data from OkCupid moves this phenomenon from theory to measurable scale. This chart, built from a dataset called Your Looks and Your Inbox, plots physical attractiveness against the volume of meaningful messages received. The line climbs steadily as attractiveness increases, but right before the absolute top tier, the message volume sharply drops off. Users look at those top-tier profiles and assume the person has infinite options and an overloaded inbox. Believing they have zero chance of standing out, users either do not bother reaching out or they send generic, zero-effort messages. High intelligence creates the exact same barrier. Psychologists refer to this as the intelligence-intimacy gap. In experimental settings, men consistently report valuing highly intelligent women. But when placed in a room with a woman who actually outperforms them on an intelligence test, their behavior changes. Their reported attraction drops, their self-esteem dips, and they physically distance themselves. The highly intelligent person is simultaneously dealing with their own internal hurdles. They tend to overanalyze social cues and worry about being too much. To compensate, they adopt a cautious, serious demeanor that hides their availability and makes them appear entirely closed off. Both extreme beauty and exceptional intelligence project an illusion of impossibly high standards. They freeze potential approachers in their tracks. If you are the person standing alone at that crowded event, you are likely not being rejected for your flaws. You are being avoided because your signals of availability are totally invisible. If you possess intimidating traits, relying on your mere physical presence to do the work, or hoping someone catches a single subtle glance, is a failing strategy. This bar chart compares approach rates from those observational bar studies. The data reveals a massive difference in outcomes. Individuals rated as less conventionally attractive who used high-frequency, overt nonverbal signals drastically outperformed highly attractive people who remained physically closed off. To bridge the gap, you have to artificially lower the perceived risk of rejection for the intimidated approacher. That means utilizing explicit verbal cues, like "come sit here," and adopting open, inviting body language that leaves zero room for misinterpretation. Connection requires breaking the illusion on both sides. We have to stop assuming our own interest is obvious to others, and we also have to stop assuming that the very best people in the room are out of our league.